Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today's a very exciting day because we're going to be painting a mountain lion, a puma, a cougar, step by step. And I'm going to turn my own sound off because I don't need to hear me talk. I hear it all day. All right, so this is a live stream, and I am going to be breaking down every technique, brushstroke tool, everything you need to know to be able to paint this for yourself at home. To help me do that is my husband, John.
Hello.
He's going to make sure that you can see everything that I'm talking about, demonstrating and teaching with one of our many robotic cameras, zooming in. Oh, no, that's better. I'll take care of it myself. You're so sweet. Coffee. My sweet child is bringing me coffee and creamer, but I have to control the amount of creamer.
I swear, nothing could break her beat but coffee. The world could
I don't know what I'd do if I had to be like on a television show where I wasn't allowed to react to things.
Do not touch my coffee.
Do not. All right. I could be on the morning show if the morning show had a painting segment.
So what is it we do here?
We teach art to beginners step by step in acrylic. We're going to be working today. I'm going to break it down into steps. We're going to timestamp each of those steps into a chapter. Those chapters are going to be put in the description and matched with the timestamp. Those timestamps then go with a mini book that's free to download about 7 to 14 days after the show. And we have traceables if you don't want to do the drawing with me today, but I am doing the drawing. So if you saw the grid and you saw the traceable, but you wanted to do drawing, I have decided to challenge myself to drawing the cat myself today.
Oh,
I know. What is going on with me? I have no idea. And I thought it'd be kind of nice because the background is sort of blurry and the cat's sort of black. And I just thought, could I do that? I feel like I could.
Today could be mountain lion or puma or cougar or Garfield. We just don't know where.
Once I asked that as a quiz, and what's interesting, whenever I do a poll, there's about 3 people that get real mad about the poll. Doesn't matter what the poll is. I figured out just the act of polling upsets about 1% of the population deeply.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, cougar, mountain lion, puma, all of those things. And I love it.
But since
as
you're
long as it's not running me down and chasing me to eat me. Now, I'm working on an 8x8 canvas today. We use 8x8 a lot. If you like this class and you want to join us regularly, 8x8 is a size you could buy a pack of. And no, there have been 8x8 classes and there will be future 8x8 classes. If you want to know who won the last giveaway, be sure and go to the Kendall video and look for the winner, either on Facebook or on YouTube. You guys got to remember to look for yourselves because you might have won. You got to check it out. We have a giveaway today, too.
We do.
We're going to give away a month of patronage
to
one lucky person anywhere in the world. So all you have to do to enter for that is to leave a comment with the hashtag #TheArtSherpa in it. If you're in Facebook, you can do it anytime. If you're on YouTube, you have to do it after the show is over in the comment section. The comment picker cannot see the live questions. It does not have access to them. It has to be in those weird little segments of comments that are in the video after a video is over. But that's all it is that you have to do. Be over 18. Those things. Woo!
And then
we
step.
And then, well, not yet, because I haven't said burnt sienna and Mars Black. We're going to start out with a little bit of burnt sienna and Mars Black, the 8x8 surface, and I'm going to use a T-square so I can start the drawing in process. Now, step 1. Oh gosh, Don, is it another autumn?
It is. It's an autumn mountain lion.
Mountain lion.
It could be an
autumn. You could
autumn,
scoot me over.
It could be an autumn cougar.
It could be an autumn cougar.
It could be an autumn puma.
Could have been an autumn puma. Probably shorter right, but it wasn't searched.
No.
It's amazing how few people wanted to know in search, if I looked at the number of searches, a mountain lion, how to paint it. None of them. They were looking for cougars and mountain lions, but I felt like doing it, so I'm going to. Since this is an 8x8 canvas, I mark this at the 4-inch point, and I'm going to make a couple of up and down lines. I'm not going to do the whole grid, right? That isn't what I'm going to do, but I am going to use a kind of quadrant system so I know where I am in the canvas, and that'll help me keep everything in scale when I'm trying to say, oh, things are a certain amount of big or not a certain amount of big. I am using a watercolor pencil, guys. It's a watercolor pencil. It's going to vanish into water or my paint as I paint it in. I wouldn't want to use a Prismacolor pencil or a pencil that uses clay or wax base or oil base or grease base.
Hello,
Only
Australia.
watercolor base or chalk base. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Woo!
Australia just said
I kind of
hello.
felt like we would have more mountain lion fans in today.
You know what?
I did. I thought the mountain lion fandom would be huge. But listen, look, I'm going to really show you how to do some nature painting, so it's a good day to show up. You're going to love what you learned today.
Mountain lions are definitely, like sharks, need to be appreciated from far away. Do not pet them. They're not
pets. I think about the eyes, they kind of, begin here at the just above the 4-inch mark. We're going to put them at the 3.5-inch mark and come forward a little bit. I just kind of want to know the line of my eyes when I start putting in the circles. We're going to add just a little scale. So if you think over here is like 7 to 8 inches, right? Like you come over here and you go to the side. We're about is 7 or 6 inches, right? So if I go here, I know that the face is going to be kind of in that space. Come down. I'm going to make a circle here to kind of represent the space or scale that the muzzle would have, right? I'm going to break down the face into shapes and constructs.
Now, I'm not sure. See, Jenna, she just said that on Monday she celebrated another birthday, which begs a question. Is Jenna crashing random birthday parties? If she is, I would like to join her. No, she's
probably like your mom who has like a birthday that is either repeated in a month or is the whole month.
No, but I mean like it's just the way that she phrased it made me think I would go with Jenna to crash birthday parties if that's something that she did.
I'm going to kind of scale about 1 inch down from the top. That's about where the top of the skull is going to finish off. So I have to know that. This center line is going to help me figure out where the eye positioning and ear positioning on the skull is, because this is the center of the skull on a 3/4 inch. It's also going to help me work in the nose and a little bit of the muzzle here.
Yeah.
So I like to do this freehand every once in a while because it keeps my skills a little bit sharp. I'm going to bring a little of this back. We're talking about the jawline. Just trying to get a sense of how big is it? How big is it? Bigger than you would want if it was chasing you down a mountain. There is a lot of forehead on this animal. Start to bring the eye down here. The other thing I like about the watercolor is that I can really adjust any lines that I have and erase them easily with water. Very close to my center line is when my nose starts to come out. And it's just big and beautiful. Don't forget to make that nose big and beautiful, because he's got a snifter on here.
He's got to breathe. Let me put the little back up.
Yeah.
Whoop. There you go.
You guys have the reference with the grid. If you want a photo reference to help you kind of anchor all that out, you have that.
And now it's here with us on the screen.
Now it's here with us on the screen. I'm going to bring a little lip down. I think it's important to remember that there's almost kind of like a strong little shape on this. And then it comes back to a jowl. So can you see how that line curves up and comes back to a jowl? That's important. And then that bit of the nose is going to come out. Kind of a little bit puffed out. On him, there's a good underbite on the jaw. Like the little round top part of the jaw really kind of encapsulates the bottom of him. And because I put in that first line, I have a good back line on that jaw. Now, for the eye, I know I'm going to sketch them in even though a lot of it has to get painted out. And that's because I just want to make sure I've got the scale correct, and I've got my placement correct. And I may come in and take a little bit of water. And when I want to erase something, I just come in and go, nope, I don't like it. Let's move you. Isn't that great how I can do that? I can just change my mind. So we don't always do drawing in the classes because it does add a bit, but we've been getting a lot of requests for drawing. And I think it's okay to want to know how to draw. As long as you guys understand that you don't have to draw. Bring a little eye up. I love cat eyes. Get this off though, it's going to be a whole problem. Got to pay attention to it. Gonna make sure that I'm kind of in the right scale going around. All right. And that already, I'm going to go from the top down and I'm going to say just below the 3-inch and then just above the 4 inches, the scale of the eye. So just checking scale. That's what you do every once in a while. You just check it. Now on this eye, what's wonderful is you don't really see all of it. Right? You're not going to see all of that scale.
Mm.
We need to make sure that there's a nice little forward bit. I'm going to come here and kind of fix this line. Make it a little more determined. Whenever you draw, if you go direct on a canvas like this, you want something where you can be like, I'm going to change this a bit. I'm going to change this a bit, or I'm not going to change this a bit. It's important. Make sure that I'm in a good place and position. And I think that's where I got off, is I got off on the depth of the face.
Oh. Oh, that's erasable.
Mm-hmm. You got to do that. You'll be working and you get off on the depth of the face. This is why we use a watercolor pencil. And we use a watercolor pencil that's the color of the background. So what I'm looking at, what I'm observing in the space on the canvas, right?
Yeah.
Is that the nose is really almost down to, gosh, just even the 5-inch area. And it comes out to the 6. So it has to finish here on the face. If we don't get it far enough out, it's not going to look right. So just pay attention to those little elements. The shape isn't hard to really capture, but you do want to get the scale correct. And I'm going to kind of pull this down a little bit because there's a nice curve to it. And here, I think it's important to pay attention to the fact that there is a bit of a cheek that's going to come out. So I've got to make sure that I've got that room for that. Just working this around here. Always working on it. So drawing is exactly like painting in that it's a skill set, and you work on it all the time. Always. You're always thinking about that skill set. I'm going to make sure I've got this a little bit worked out a little bit. And you can see I'm getting pigment on there, but it's not pigment that I'm going to regret later.
Oops.
What was that?
Me kicking the stuff under my desk.
Now the nose here, right, we want this to come out a little bit more. I'll bring this here. And I want to make sure that my eye line is level. I can always use my T-square to make sure that I have a good level eye line.
Now, is this acrylic or watercolor?
This is going to be acrylic.
Okay. You're just using watercolor because that's a sketchyable thing.
Well, yeah, it'll blend in. If I were to use grease pencils we mentioned earlier, it would ruin the painting.
That would be hard.
Yeah, just completely ruin it. And you don't want to ruin it. You're going to spend a little bit of time figuring out how to get it in here. You want to make sure that it's going to be okay. All right, so now we're starting to get that in, that shape in. There is a bit of a kind of backward jowl that I really like. And then we're going to come up to the ears. And what's nice about knowing the skull line, right? You know what you've got here, then you can place the ears both at the top in a good position. And then you can come right back on that line and easily find the spot for that second ear. Whenever you're doing any skull, animal skull, person skull, fantasy skull, there's certain accesses that you have, the axis of an object, like where my eyes are on this, on my skull, the symmetry of things. And it's important to be able to find that symmetry
Hmm.
if you want things to look like what they are. This ear is kind of a weird little forward-facing ear just at the angle that it's at, so it's really important to get it on its axis. So that when I bring the neck down, the neck is down, and then when I bring the shoulders in, the shoulders are in. So the cat looks as strong as the cat is.
And thank you for everyone with all the super chat support.
Oh, thank you for the super chat.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much.
Drawing class.
It really
I appreciate
helps.
the extra support for the drawing class. Everything on the chest is right around that 4-inch mark, so we want the cat to be quite big here. All right, everything on the cat's quite large here. Make sure that we are in the correct range on the jaw, which we are doing pretty good. That's a very good range on our jaw. Now, predictively, I can tell you that it is going to be making sure that your symmetry is good. That's going to be the hardest thing in your painting, and making the animal feel weighted and hefty enough. These are big creatures. Just a lot of fur. All right, I guess I'm fussing to fuss.
That's okay.
You know, but I find sometimes if I can sketch in some positioning of objects, like I'm like, okay, you know, your nose is going to come here, and then it helps you distinctly capture what makes a particular animal look like itself. Like, what is this? How is this creature different than, say, a lion in its shape? Okay, I think.
That looks like it's got, you got your perspectives in there.
You need a bigger eye here. Predators need bigger eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I'll look at that and I'll be like, is that eye big enough? To make sure. Okay. That we have a big enough eye. And that makes sense for the creature's head.
I am all about it.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
How are you all about it?
Because you're on the eyes.
Okay. We can get in here and adjust later. I think we just need to get that basic sketch in.
Yeah.
Again, I provided a traceable. If this just looks a little overwhelming, don't worry about it. Just use the traceable. You want to work on the skill, work on the skill. If you just want to opt out and traceable, there's just nothing wrong with it. It's always okay. All right. Let's get a picture of this and go on to step 2, and I will mix up my milk and get John to microwave it because I've let it sit here for a really long time. do, do, do.
Soon they'll be able to see the studio.
Soon they will be able to see the studio. And the 2 disco balls, thank you very much. You guys helped us get 2 disco balls. And they're rotating in opposite directions and are pink and purple. And it's awesome. It's good flavor. It's good flavor. We'll need a microwave, but it's good flavor. Because I've been sitting here, I've been talking, monologuing like a villain, right? Now, the background, the cat I'm gonna put in kind of a black. I'll leave some of the brown shaping and I'll use some of my brown sketching in kind of a solid black. That way I can build him up off of a dark background. And this other background will be lighter. So just real quick, I'll take a number 8 cat's tongue. Oh my goodness. I want to thank Andy McHugh for joining Emoji Club. And I want to also thank Karen A. for being back in our Emoji Club. Emoji Club is a fun club. We got to come up with a new emoji. We've earned another emoji. Two new members. It's kind of exciting. Going to just bring this back here. Just make sure that we've got a good positioning. of all the objects on our big cat. I'm on the left angle? Good to know. Okay. So again, that's what I'm doing is I'm just sketching him in with a little bit of brown. Just have a sense of where that basic object is and put him in black. That way, when I come in on the background, I can kind of get a sense of it. So I'll put him in a much darker color, and it will let me build up his fur when I go to do that. Much easier. Because in fur, one of the things that you're going to want is a deep shadow. The deep shadow in the thickest part of the fur, the part that retains heat and protects the animal, is a lot of what makes something look like fur. So sometimes starting with a darker color can help you get there. Well, he's going to be a little bit dark for a second, and that's okay. And we can bring the background into this cat a little bit. We don't mind. And the reason that we don't mind, and come in and make sure that the nose is in good shape. Just kind of getting a rough version of him in. You don't have to be neat or tidy about it. We're building up. We just want to get the white canvas covered. If you use the traceable, you just go over your lines with the brown paint and then fill in with the black. Still leaves you more than enough information on the cat. You know, it's really interesting. One of the things that's changed since being on YouTube is I've gotten much more comfortable sharing my drawing process. I used to be very private about my drawing process before this. I didn't want to see people see me get my lines in or work my thought process out. And since being online and teaching online, and so many people are like, oh, can we figure out how to draw? I want to learn how to draw. I've actually gotten much more comfortable and okay going, all right, well, I'm going to share this part of the process. And so you guys have been good for me in that way. You can see I just come back and make sure that the brown is sort of helping me see these different little lines that I have to know. Was I not on screen? I thought I was on screen. I'm sorry. I thought I was paying attention to that, but I must not have been. I'm not going to worry about painting in the eyes. It's good for me to kind of know where the eyes are and have scale. Once he's all in and we get out kind of our more awkward kind of sketching lines, you can kind of say, oh, well, you know, he's kind of working. You get you're like, you can see him a little bit better. Yeah, call it a step. And let's put out some more colors while John is doing the step. I'm going to put out some cad yellow. And we'll put out some cad red. I've got burnt sienna out. Interestingly enough, I will put out some green. This color palette we're going to be... Huh? No. No dried. He's so sweet. Is it dried? Not dried. Because we're painting the outside. We don't need to dry at the stage. Very similar to the color palette that we're doing on Tuesday with the One Hoot Abstract Trees, which is very easy and very short. It's just an hour. Not a deep lesson like this one. Not a deep lesson. Does the competition include Australia? Yeah, Carrie. On the Patreon, anybody, anywhere. Anybody, anywhere. As long as, you know, you haven't, if you're watching us here, you have the capacity to join our patronage because it's online. So yes. And patrons, you get all the patrons exclusives. All of them. All of them. So it's a good thing to do. And it's for a month. We're going to do that for a little while. because we got to catch up on shipping and printing. All right, so we have this lovely group, and let's put out some white. You know, so if we have to lighten things a little bit, and I may put out glazing liquid if I have to blend a little bit. Just little things that we use, and we'll talk about this. Glazing liquid. All the many bottles of glazing liquid. Look at all the different packaging that this thing has. I think this is the current one. It used to be called acrylic glazing liquid gloss, and now it's gloss glazing liquid. Weirdly, the same thing. How annoying is that? It's a slow drying extender. Just means it slows down the drying time of your paint and lets you glaze with it. Lovely product. Not overly pricey, and just made unnecessarily difficult to understand and obscure. I'm going to come through with a 3/4 inch angle. You could use a bright. You could just use any brush that gives you good edge that you're comfortable with the angles on. And I'm going to start to paint in a blurry bokeh kind of background, right? You know, mixing in the different little colors that we have here. I can get into a little orange because it's fall. Kind of blend that right in. Look at that. And by doing this like back and forth light brushing, my pressure is super soft and I'm using different colors. It creates that illusion of the background having out of focus leaves and different little elements. It's a real fun way to paint.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. You can see I'm just letting it be all kinds of different things, aren't we? Get a little white into that. Let's see, bokeh. Bokeh. We just did a fun bokeh with the flowers with the little pouncers. This is a little bit kind of similar in that range. As I come down, I can definitely get a little into maybe like a little green into my brown. Look at that. Kind of fall green. I'm just working that in. I get a little bit of color. I come over to the brown. I work it into the brush. The brush is dirty. And then I'm going to loosely and abstractly brush that around. I'm not stressed about it. I'm not, however, making a checkered pattern. I'm not creating a repeat of something that would really catch the eye. That's important to avoid because nature doesn't do that. Nature does, it hides itself. So we want to be sure that we're hiding ourselves. Little black and brown down here, maybe a stronger version of that. It's a bit darker and deeper in these woods. And a feather over the top, blend that in, soften that in. If ever I need to kind of get control over it, I can just go back and wipe the brush out with a towel. Right now is this animal's like greatest time of year. It's literally colored the background color.
Mm-hmm.
So we really have to play with color to make sure that when we get into our animal that we're going to be really adjusting that. I think it's lovely that it's quite dark back here, so I'm going to rinse out. The only thing about it being quite dark back here is that, you know, we're going to really need that brown to know where that ends because it's quite dark.
Irene asked a really good question. How is the glazing gloss different from the retarder?
So a retarder, which is an agent, it's a medium that stops the drying of acrylic.
An agent?
If you don't get the mixture right, your paint will never dry. You can make it tacky. You can, if you follow the instructions exactly, retarders are fantastic, but you couldn't glaze with them. You could never have all of the slow drying agent and a little bit of pigment, right? Whereas in this, you can have all of the slow drying agent and a little bit of pigment for a glaze. In a retarder, you could never do that. It would never dry. It would just be tacky and ruined on your canvas. This is almost the basic polymer that they use, I believe, for the golden open paints. Which are open about, what is it? They say 24 hours? Like that. You'd have to look at the website. Open means not drying. Open time in acrylic, whenever someone says it's open, what they're saying is the amount of time you have before it dries. Taking a little red and black and mixing our own kind of brown. I feel like I want a lighter value kind of in the center here. I'm going to take my yellow into my previous mix with the reds and yellows, and I'm going to come here and make sure I have some nice light values. Yeah, we're doing, making sure that is nice and light and exciting. That's important. Contrast is important. It makes things look correct. So me adding these little pops of lighter color is a big deal. I'm also going to come here and get a little bit of the red and yellow in the brush with a bit of white and come behind the ear.
Yeah.
Making sure that that's a light area. In the bokeh. So it seems like a background we're not thinking a lot about, but we are thinking a lot about it. Quite a lot. Okay. I think that's a very exciting background, don't you?
Yeah.
It's kind of abstract, but the play against this loose background and this animal, and then we'll put leaves in kind of at the end if we want to do some leaves or something up front. That's really going to create a dramatic sense of space and scale. It really is. And getting a sense of doing these blurred bokeh, out of focus backgrounds is really fantastic, especially in wildlife or portraiture, because it allows you to make the subject the focus of your painting. It creates an environment that they're in without having the environment detract from the subject. Because sometimes environments, that's the space around whatever the subject is about, can detract from what you're painting. Sometimes it adds, but sometimes it detracts. And it's real easy to get there into the detracty place. Let's
Coffee is good.
eye. Right? I like it when we do the eyes early and get those out of the way and make them awesome, and then we know the rest of the painting is going to go okay. Do you guys like it when we do the eyes first?
Yeah. I like the eyes.
I like the eyes too. Let's do the eyes first. Happy Saturday. All right. So in the eyes, I love that there's almost a silver yellow color to the eye, and I'm kind of fascinated on how I'm going to get here and keep that. And I don't know, it's just interesting because, you know, a lot of times yellow and black want to go green, but I've got to keep it not green. Keep it gold. So I'm going to get brown involved, I think, to get here. I'm going to have to dry this because I can't rest my hand. I'm sorry, babe.
Oh, it's okay. I don't mind. So sometimes it's necessary to dry the edges between there because it's very easy to, like she said, rest your hand on the edge of things and pick up a little bit of that paint. So if you need to, just take the time to dry. It's not a big deal. Best to not use heat. Go ahead and let it thoroughly dry when you do dry it so that you don't end up getting some underbinding, and that's where the paint doesn't thoroughly dry and it's still a little bit wet underneath. So when you put some paint over the top of it, it's sticky and it lifts it up. So it just takes a few more minutes or seconds, sometimes even, just to get that that thoroughly dry stage to hit, and that'll just mean that the water has evaporated out and the chemicals have reacted. And it's starting to cure and turn into something more solid. So, ta-da!
Ta-da! So how many of you guys are coming for the One Hoot next Tuesday? One Hoot palette knife paint. Super easy. A lot of fun. If you've been wanting to get those artist knives out, that's a good one. I wanted this to be dry so that if I had to do details on the eyes and I needed to rest my hand to study it, that wouldn't be such a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to begin by kind of getting into some maybe lighter colors, just so that when I put in the eye, I've got space and scale to put in some of these details. I'm taking the brown, the black, and a balance of yellow and mixing white into it to create these fur colors. This also goes to your dogs and cats that are in this color range. This is what we're going to be using. I'm going to put that eye in as I get it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
There we go. It's kind of working in that space. What is in there? Do I know? I'm going to find out now. Take a little black. And it's all number 4 round here. It's just a detail round. Little black there. No, there's a good amount of cheek there that still shows through, so I've got to find the balance between what's happening up here in the nose.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see me going into the fur color just to make sure that I've got a good line on his nose.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make sense for when that second eye is in. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of my white, maybe even my yellow here. My brush is still dirty with the brown and black, which is going to get us into these very strange colors in the eye. And these colors are strange in the eye.
Yeah.
From what we normally paint in eyes, these golden eyes, we don't normally do a golden eye. Think about it. I think this will be the first golden eye I've taught on the channel in how many years we've been on?
It's so James
many
Bond
years.
of you. It's so James Bond of you.
It is. Oh, that's true. It is, isn't it? Oh, my goodness. While I'm here, I might go ahead and get some of my red onto my brush. Maybe a little bit of white. My brush is sort of dirty, so it's okay. It's not going to be a very bright red. It's just while I'm here, I might come here and think about the nose a bit. Make sure it's a nice big snifter. They have good snifters. The better to hunt and track and sniff you with on your bicycle.
That is true.
They can get you. I think about that a lot. There was a big cat that was hunting people in California on the bike trail for a period of time. He got parvo.
Yeah.
And made it not afraid of people. Make sure you keep parvo out of your dogs and cats. Because if a mountain lion eats them, it might eat your neighbor.
That's not good.
It's not good. I watched a thing, zombie cats. Really freaked me out. Mostly my favorite part of it was the part where this like Siberian tiger like tracked this guy for like 2 weeks back to his cabin and killed him there. And I just feel like that's personal. That cat had a feeling about that dude.
Must have been. And you know.
And you know we're Gen X because I'm like kind of on the side of the cat. I'm kind of like, this is how we are. We're like, what'd you do to the cat?
You know, you
like
meet,
it followed you for 2 weeks. What'd you do to the cat, man?
You meet a house cat, and they have all this personality, and they're
take a
like,
black and shape the eye.
you know, You realize that they got these emotions and feelings, then multiply that by a couple 100 pounds, and
Yeah. A little
yeah,
brown here. It gets to be serious, right?
I would not mess with that land shark.
Oh, definitely not.
It's in my, oh no, I have a pointy stick.
Oh no. It's in my oh no, this is a terrible idea space. I'm going to grab a little bit of orange. Gonna make sure.
You know, bears, not a problem. Not worried about a bear. Mostly because a bear's not really a predator. It's not looking to eat me. It's just like it would be, uh, we met in the
Is
wrong
that true
place at the
though?
wrong
I
time.
thought a bear was kind of a
Well,
predator,
they
isn't
are.
it?
But they're omnivores. They're not like this cat, which is what we would consider a man eater.
Dude,
Meaning
this cat is super man eater.
we would fall within its normal appetite of things to snacky on. Whereas a bear's like, no, I want honey. You're just between me and my honey.
Or salmon.
Or salmon, or
It's
any
my-
other things, but we are not on
My
its
Scooby snack. I think a bear is more as having Scooby snacks. I'm adding a little bit of brown to the top of the eye.
Polar bear will look at you a little differently, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, nope, you're a snacky.
Snack 'em.
But, you got to kind of know that going into the woods.
You do, man. You need to know. Making sure we got nice perspective on the eye. I'm going to dry this with a hair dryer so I can keep layering. So what you see here is that I've started to build up that kind of construct, the shape, and lighten that space in the eye, keeping it in those ranges. And I've thought a little bit about the nose.
And then she's got to just give it a little dry so that she can give more layers. Because acrylic's all about the layers. You guys know that. That's how we make it happen. So, there she is.
Someone said big cats don't discriminate on gender. No, they're an equal opportunity will eat your face.
They're a snacker.
They're like, you look slow and not able to defend yourself.
Num 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 num.
Num num nums. I'm fun on a nature walk. Anyways, I come over to my brown and black and gold and kind of get into that range. You can kind of see it's not green. I'm kind of keeping it out of the green. And I'm going to get some white into it. There it goes, quite light. From here on the inside, kind of outside, just getting it kind of light. And then as I come around, it can be a little bit darker. So we're just making sure that as the eyes are lightening,
Ooh.
right, that we also have kind of like this little dark ring and then a little lighter outer ring. I've got to get a smaller brush for that, I think. I'm going to need a smaller brush. I don't know why that always reminds me of sharks, but because of Jaws.
Jawses.
I'm taking a number 1 monogram liner and I'm picking this brush so that I can kind of do a very fine line here with some control. This double line on the cat's eye is very important. And then the way it kind of comes up on the inside, also important. See how that worked?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Get those little eyes in there. Don't forget to enter for the giveaway. If you're on Facebook, you can leave a comment anytime. Hashtag the Art Sherpa. Be sure and come back in about a week to check to see if you've won. I'll comment on your comment and I'll pin it to the top of the thing, close post. Try to make sure that you guys know what's going on. You got to email us at support@theartsherpa.com. I have the rules pinned on Facebook now, and I'll pin them after the show's over on YouTube. On YouTube, you have to wait till after the show because the comment picker can't see the live chat. It can only see the after show chat.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah, it does seem reasonable. It does seem reasonable. But my assumption that it is reasonable doesn't necessarily make it reasonable. I'm going to add this slightly lighter color here, kind of tapping and coming in. Getting into a little more of the gold here.
Oh, yeah.
I like playing with cat's eyes. I like painting eyes. I really do. It's super exciting for me. I like it very much. It's like, oh, it's the good part. I'm going to get some black right now. I'm going to come here and put in, watch for drop hiding on your brush. A round pupil. Sometimes people think that you've got to put in a cat eye pupil, but you do not want that. Make sure that that is a good position. Feels like that got off position. Needs to be a little forward facing. So I'm going to take a bigger brush. And I'm going to move it. See how I changed my mind?
Mm-hmm.
If you're having any trouble with it, you just change your mind. Dry it again.
Is that working? There it goes. Just quick dry. And that's over here.
All right. Back into the black. Back in black. All right. Here we know that the pupil's really right in the corner. You barely see it.
Yeah.
There's a hint of it. We know it's there, but it's just hidden. This has got to be a little more forward facing. Or I'm going to have cross eyes, which is okay. I don't mind. Sometimes a cross-eyed cat is very enjoyable as a piece of art, but I really want him to be forward facing and hunting what he's hunting.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of getting that all worked out in there. That's what you do. Maybe get a little bit of the yellow and the red. Much more yellow.
Now, does this kitty have a name yet?
No, he will, after this is all over, and if you win the patronage giveaway today, you'll know this. I take the paintings when I'm done and I put them in the patron group and then they name them, because otherwise it's going to be named Mountain Lion Autumn, like the thing. Because it's autumn and it's a mountain lion. That's what its name's going to be. There's just no other option there. I'm just working with these little colors, making small adjustments as needed. Deep face, so that's why the other eye is not as, seeable.
Yeah.
And that's something to think about. I'm going to tap up and down a little bit on the eye. I like that part of the eye.
Oh, yeah, that looks nice.
Now let's get a little bit of our gray going with our black. Tappy, 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 tappy. The glazing medium.
Yeah.
Glazing. Kind of come over the eye and kind of glaze a little bit of shadow.
Always use a little bit of that.
A little bit of shadow is always a good idea. It helps make sure the eye feels like it's, inside of a socket. You want the eye to feel like it's inside the socket. Working that green gold there. I just like doing the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to grab a little bit of white. I'll come on the inside here and then across. That right there?
Yeah.
And a little bit at the front of that eye.
Mm-hmm.
We have other areas that will be definitely put some highlights and reflections there. And some there. Well, let's call that a step because that's a lot, and that's how we get the cat's eyes in. Once you get the cat's eyes in, the rest of the cat kind of comes in really well. If you know the eyes are going to work, then you know the rest of the cat is going to work. And I used to do the eyes at the end sort of as like the reward for getting to the end of the painting. But I started to learn that you guys needed to know the painting was going to go somewhere when it was in its ugly stage. So I moved the eyes up to an earlier stage in the painting for painting. And it's worked really well. Was that the regular white or the super fluid white? I don't have any super fluid white out on the palette. What you see here is the golden glazing liquid. It's a gloss glazing liquid by Golden. It's the slow drying extender. And it's just going to keep my paint from drying out on me so fast when I need to be able to blend it or work it. And I like to have some out on the palette, especially when things are drying out quickly. I'm going to need another microwave, John.
We'll work that out.
Okay, so now we can start putting in other elements of the cat. We know that something we're painting is going to come out. And we can start maybe working on some of the fur. I'm going to talk to you about fur. Fur, guys. Fur. So there's a bunch of brushes. They're called combs. Combs are just brushes that have like, you know how like when you went to the hairdresser and they would like piece your bangs, go stimp, stimp, stimp. They're kind of trimmed out like that. They're not like rakes because these make real even distributed little things. You can also get, there's like a comb in the crystal. There's a grass comb. I have a filbert grainer by Princeton. There's a lot of these. You just pick what works best for you. Fluid paint does help it do its thing. And I'm going to put out a little more black. And I start getting into all my wonderful fur colors. Sometimes they're more brown, sometimes they're more black. And we're going to start painting in the fur. Now, fur like scales kind of layers back, right? So you start with that fur, this back fur, and you kind of layer in because then you can pull the fur on top of it. Gives you some depth kind of organically. I'm going to get you can see it when it's wet, a 1/2 inch grass comb. I do think a grass comb, if you're going to be doing any wildlife painting, get a grass comb. It's worth it. Or filbert grainer. It doesn't really matter what you call it. Or make one, get a filbert and trim it up. But it's good to have one in the bucket. You're going to want one in the bucket, my friends. All right, let's get some of this fur. We've got the brown on here. A little bit of the yellow. And we're going to start painting that in. Directionality of the fur. What direction is the fur going? You want to know that, right? You're going to want to know what direction does the fur go. Let me take a little black. Oh, thank you. Hot, hot, hot. I'll let it sit for a second and hopefully not let it completely. Sometimes I'll work little areas kind of more thoroughly and then come back into them. I really need that to be covered. Otherwise, the piece won't frame well. If your edge isn't covered well enough in the framing, it can mess up your piece. You don't have to paint the whole edge, but you need to paint enough that the framing will work. I'm going to grab a little bit of brown. Add a little bit of yellow into it. Get a little bit of white. You can see as I go along that kind of very easily and quickly starts to make some fur. Just bringing a little, pulling back like this, pulling back. Little short strokes. Building up that first layer of fur. If I want a little of it to be a little more blended brown, I can come back. It's just about taking your time, having patience with yourself on these more involved projects. Right. where you have maybe a little more highlight. And you can also use the slow drying extender too to thin and fluid it out. Anywhere that you've got a little shape, you can come on the edge of that fur and kind of highlight it with little short strokes that pull out. Kind of creating that little line on the neck. A little bit along the ear. A little darker color here. You can see that we're just starting to create that short fur effect. Do you have a short fur effect, John? Sometimes it's nice to like make sure you've got a little white on there and you do little short strokes. Little brown. There's a little more brown towards the back, and then it gets deeper, and then it goes really gold. Now here we can kind of be a little looser because we know we're going to put some leaves or something to create that next sense of depth. If we have the energy, we may want to leave it all cat. I don't know, because I kind of like the cat, but we'll see how it looks. Little short strokes into the black. This is in shadow, right?
Yeah.
A little black and brown. What is the directionality of the fur? In other words, what direction does the fur grow, and paint in that direction? You can do it.
So this definitely falls under wet cat pressure.
Ooh, that's a hail back to an earlier day on YouTube. But yeah, it does hail back to wet cat pressure. Auntie Vicky says, would you teach how to make a comb brush? I would. I'll tell you here's what, anytime you customize a brush, and I do recommend customizing a brush, what you have to realize is it instantly voids the warranty. Anytime you cut or take scissors to a brush at all, the manufacturer and you have broken up. I don't care. At the point I'm cutting a brush, the manufacturer and I have gone separate directions anyways.
We are departed from there.
Yes, we're doing our own thing at that point. But I get where they might have a feeling, I suppose. Maybe a little bit. Not really, but and come here and say come into an already area. This is somewhat wet into wet. Yeah. Short brush strokes, little jabs, pulling forward, getting a little lighter color as I come forward, because this starts to get into the light a little more, doesn't it?
It does.
A fun thing I can do is come in and make a really distinctive orange. And also get that into the light fur. Because it's a cat, so it can be, when we're painting, we can paint very colorfully and still paint wildlife as it is. That's another cool thing that sometimes we don't think about, is how we have a lot of control as the artist. When you're really new to painting, it can feel like you don't have any control.
Yeah.
When you do, you have so much control as the artist. You decide.
It's up to you.
It really is, though, right? Right. So the front of this is sort of the neck.
You know who taught me my individual responsibility?
Who did?
Captain Planet.
That's true. Captain Planet would be so upset right now. None of that works at all.
He would be so upset. He'd be like, I disappear for 20 years and you do what?
It's like I said nothing. And then we're like, we were the shortest generation. We had no influence. I don't want you to do. Never mind. I have no time for it. You should have been there for the millennials. They're very engaged. I was already on to He-Man, man. Oh, so funny. I'm just putting a lighter color on that side of him, and you can already see the shape of him taking place. He's a foot. Kitty, 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 kitty. That's what my dad would say. Here, kitty, 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 kitty. And I would say, don't call the land predator, Dad. It's apex.
That's like going
apex
surfing
predator.
with like seals.
I did a report. I went to the library. I looked stuff up. This is all a very bad plan.
You know, I didn't have to look anything up. I just had to look it in the eyes and said, yeah, you want to eat me, don't you? I've met your, like, cousins. They're, like, trying to eat my toes all the time. I'm allergic to them, so I know you and I are not going to be friends.
You know it, right?
Just everything about my little primate says, no.
No.
Bad kitty.
Bad kitty.
Bad kitty.
Bad kitty.
I'm going to put on some heavy metal, and I'm going to...
Poor cat was like, this woman.
I thought I was going to eat her, but then she made this angry noise.
I don't like it. Or maybe I do.
I'm not sure.
I will spare her. I'm never going to get over that poor bear walking on that woman's fence, though. I'm going to die remembering that bear's face.
You're a 12-year-old girl pushing me off the wall.
You should never, ever do that.
No.
And you know that you're a mom when you look at your kid when you're watching it and you're like, do not push a bear. Like, that's what they would do. You know not to push a bear, right? Not even if it's eating the dog. Don't push the bear.
Don't touch the bears.
And then, of course, your teenager has to be all argumentative going, well, I could see how it would happen because you would want to save the dog and you wouldn't think of it. But you're going to think of it, right? You. I'm your mother. You're going to think of it. Well, I can't say what I would think of in the middle of a crisis. I'm adding a little bit more of this orange brown through here.
Seriously.
At which point you're like, well, then I can't let you leave the house.
Patty was pointing out, cougars are a small cat until they're 3 feet away from you.
No, I've seen a cougar. Cougar looked at my horse and been like, you look like a fat deer. And the horse looked at the cougar and was like, I will stomp you. I will stomp you all. I will stomp a mud hole all over you. And the cat's like, you probably would.
Yeah.
Horse did that. Cat's like, oh, you're not a deer.
Yeah.
We had horses that came from Colorado and would winter and stuff up in the mountains. So they actually were surrounded by real things. And therefore had developed some very strong opinions on those things. So by the time we got my mom's horse, Cappy, had some very strong feelings on things like mountain lions and, well, trash on the ground. Lots of stuff. Lots of stuff irked that horse. He was not about it. I'm going to continue to take this sort of grayed out. Can you see how I'm going through the burnt sienna, the Mars black, a little cad yellow? Sometimes I work into this orange and white. I'm not really going into the green. I clearly have more green than I will need. And this is just Ready Player Layer 1. Right? We're just starting to think about what value is this fur? Like if I were to come here and say, oh, you have a little more yellow in you, and then I was about to get a little more white. What color is this fur? Got really excited with that yellow there. I don't know what was going on with me. I'm like, whoa, be yellow. And it's like, I'm not yellow, but you like me, so I'm going to do that anyways. Come get some of the brown. So what I'm looking at in the reference, and you guys have the reference on the website, and I'll make sure that that stays up for you to use, is I'm looking at what's hitting the light. Reference photos aren't just to do exactly what's in the reference photo. It's also to help you know how something, would look. Where's the light hit it? It's nice to make sure that you're allowed to use the reference photo if you're online rather than going to Pinterest and grabbing one. My strong suggestion is go to Paint My Photo or one of the many, many websites that donate photographs to artists. There are many. I'm going to come in with a lighter color here. Fast process, painting wildlife.
It's
I could paint it loose. Like we're going to do the birds. And you guys are coming to the bird hop, right?
I will
Everybody's
be there.
coming to the bird hop?
I will be there.
Everybody's coming to the bird hop. Come to the bird hop. It's going to be, each class is going to be 50 minutes or less. And they're going to be all kind of 1.5 hoot. Pretty much 1 hoot, but 1.5 hoot. And it's going to alternate between me and my mom.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you'll have 6 little bird paintings on 6x6 canvases. And we're giving you guys 10-minute breaks between the classes this time, as per your feedback.
Yeah.
Because you guys were like, what is going on? I have to pee. I'm going to bring a little of this brown back here. Okay. I'm going to, let's call this a step because we've just got a lot more to do and it kind of gives you a sense to sort of practice this in. Yeah. You can see what a big deal a grass comb can be. It really just gives you that texture, that stroke. You still have to find the value. You still have to find directionality, but it does help you create an effect that is like fur and doesn't make you work so hard for that texture, for that. Lol and P36 Watch Spider Painting Mushroom House would love to see more. So cute and fun. All right. Well, if Spider would like to come back, he's always invited back. Kids go through different stages of social anxiety. My eldest child is on Twitch now, streaming.
She is doing so good
as a VTuber. They are. We're working on it.
It is a...
They are
a thing of angry bees. What do they call those?
A swarm of bees?
Swarm! She's
swarm of bees. We've been using that modality as like...
They are a swarm of angry bees.
They are a swarm of angry bees. But it does work. So they're on Twitch.
But I have to think about it.
Streaming and as a pony. So that's been kind of cool to watch. I'm very encouraging of that. And I think they are so talented. I think my child is so talented.
Don't wake the bees.
Don't wake the bees. Did we take a picture?
I think I took a picture.
Did you put up a step?
I did take a step.
Okay. So if you took a picture and put up a step, then we're
on to the next one.
I'm going to continue on and start to kind of maybe think about inside the ear here. Put some deep shadow up. As you do.
Well, you do.
Well, somebody do.
I do not.
Somebody needs to. I'll just bring the black up first. Because that's just easier. Just easier. Make sure this is fairly covered.
Yeah.
Working that out. Oh, May, Supernatural Investigator of Minnesota. Well, that only Honey is on Twitch, May. And by the way, you need to go check that video because you might have been a lucky person over on the Watercolor channel. Go look. And then you got to email us. Go look and then email us. Different winter than today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we see you guys and we know, like, you were lucky, we'll try to hint at you. Hey, you were lucky. Go check it out. Is the grass brush the same as a fur brush? Depends on the cut on a fur brush. Sometimes I've seen brushes cut like this, and instead of being called rakes, they have been called fur brushes, and I don't agree with that. I don't think they make good fur. If they're cut in a similar sort of fine way as a grainer or whatever, I wouldn't even consider this a particularly good fur brush. So I definitely, these two, these shape, this style is what I like, and it really is company by company. You have to remember, brush companies are allowed to name their brushes anything they want.
Yeah.
I'm going to come forward with this little kind of hair as I go forward. They don't have to have it based in anything at all. At all. That's a very shocking thing to learn. They don't have to tell you anything factual at all.
Nothing.
Sometimes they have to give you information about what the brush is made of, like is it an illegal fur or something. There's such good synthetics now, though. You don't almost ever need to do fur. I still like to do some hog bristles on occasion, but that's really an optional choice. And come and get a little of my brown and black and kind of come here and think of that a little bit.
Oh,
yeah. Up there. Interesting. I'll get into my orange.
Thank you guys for all the support out there.
Thank you so much. These longer classes are a bit of a thing, and I like doing them. We've got shorter classes coming during the week, hour-long, shorter one-hoot classes. As per the multitudes of requests. I'm going to take a little black and kind of tip this out here. That'll be nice later. Here we go. Just kind of making that work. Well, he's really working today, isn't he?
Yeah. Turning out nice.
All right. Continuing to get into this nice fur color. I'm going to go a lot lighter here because there's this really sort of interesting area above the eye. See, I can make short strokes and really mimic the fur. That's what I love about this. I'm into the orange here. Look at that. Isn't that great around the eye?
Yeah.
I'm going to get a good position around the eye here.
Yeah.
Come on this edge.
Just giving him some eyebrows.
Well, yeah, I'm just coming and catching like the fur where it's super, super light.
All the better to see you with.
I have smaller combs, so if it gets a little too hard to get around stuff like the eyes, I can get into a smaller comb, but you can see it pretty quickly gets us there.
Yeah.
We'll go real light here. And real light there around that eye. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
It's looking so nice, so pretty. Pretty, pretty kitty kitty. I'm just building it up. You just take your time. You just build it up. You'll get there. It'll be gorgeous.
Already looking fantastic.
It just takes time. My family at this point has started to look at paintings and realize what they're in for in a stream.
It's the fur just takes what it takes to get the little layers of fur in.
It just does, man.
But it's worth it.
To me it is, but I can see how, like, you know, to you guys where you're like, we're going to be on how long?
Huh.
I get it. I understand it. Now, around the nose, we have this sort of interesting deeper color fur. I'm going to get more into the brown and black up here. Fun stuff. And come into the lighter fur and then be like, a little forward facing. You'll notice that the fur changes direction on the nose, so I like to kind of pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Up here at the top.
At the top.
Get into the brown. Watching someone paint fur, it's a little bit better than watching a cement set.
No, because you can see it's like this is much more like watching
Fur grow?
No, like a picture develop. You know, it's a lot more like watercolor where the fur comes in layers and layers and layers and it develops rather than, you know.
Yeah, that sort of rough, crazy
emerges.
underpainting stage, which is like all bad all the time.
All bad, all the time.
Just underpaintings. They're so unkind. Who invented that? Let's find them and beat them up. No, violence is never the answer.
No.
I want to thank y'all for your amazing support about everything lately. You guys have been incredible.
Really have.
Just amazing. Amazing. Again, it's just about 2 to 3 good layers here. It doesn't take too long once you get the base in, but getting the base takes... You just have to commit to the ace of base here.
Yes.
There you go. So you got a little black mountain cat going there. He's a little mountain cat.
Yeah. The mountain cat.
Making sure our chin is a nice, fully developed chin chin. And then, you know, if you have to, if you're like in here and you're like, hey, I think that the background should come back and bokeh kind of some of this out, guess what?
What's that?
You just come in and you bokeh it out here.
Ah.
Isn't that great?
That is kind of cool. It gives you some
It gives you
contrast.
options.
Yeah.
And lets you, if you feel like you need to change the line of that jaw just a little bit, because it's kind of tapered going up into the cat, hey, not a problem. Change it up. Change it up, don't worry. Change it up. Gonna get some of this hair coming out the ear. I'm adding a little water to my brush just to improve the blending. I'll start with gray at first. And much like there, I might actually come in and kind of bokeh into this as well. And let that dry because I want to be able to go over that ear. There we go. So you can see that we will work things out as we need to. You got it.
That seems
reasonable. Even if you didn't know you got it. Such a strange little curly ear, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what am I doing here? I'm like, I don't know. Just paint. You just paint what you see. You let it help you find itself. Come in here and then paint what you see in here. Always following, you can see I'm just following the directionality of that inner ear. If I take out too much of the block, I just come back and put that deep value in. I'm going to make sure that I've got nice, again, bokeh around this ear. And yeah, I can even use the fur brush to get it. It hasn't hurt it. I'm just evaluating and changing the lines, making sure that they look correct to the cat's head.
Right.
That's what you're doing. Well, that's what we're doing. I don't know if you're doing it with me. Are you doing it with me, guys?
I'm watching. Does that count?
You are stuck with me. They're not stuck. They can leave.
Stuck.
You are stuck here till the stream is over.
I could be here. I could not be here.
You are stuck here. And has no way of leaving. He's just pretending he has free will.
What else have I got to do?
This is literally what we do now. So
this is what I do.
Actually, that's not true. John does a lot. He's super busy.
Some things.
Just short little strokes. See how I'm just kind of paying attention to the directionality of the fur.
I see it.
I want to leave this little
all the cameras
kind of center area on this cat. It's a little bit darker. Come into some of this little darker fur here. I love doing this. This is really fun.
Yeah.
All right. Let's call this a step because we did a lot.
You did do a lot.
We did a lot. We're getting through this cat. It's going to be, I think this is going to be one of the prettier paintings that we've got going on. I think we had another really great cat we did just a half second ago. And so this is going to go really, really nice with that. I like doing big cats. It's a lot of fun. Oh, cheetah. We did a cheetah. But this, I think, is going to even be nicer than the cheetah. So if you like the cheetah and that was fun for you, this will be even nicer than the cheetah, I think. You know, you just go through and you just do the layers, right? So here we are. We're just doing the layers. Now, some things that will start to pull this face really together, a couple elements. The white around the nose itself, under the chin, and then as we start to put the distinctive fur values and markings on there that really say what this cat is, the cat will really start to be revealed. To get there, though, I'm going to need to grab my number 4 round. Sip my coffee and hope that the scalding coffee is just warm now.
How is it?
I miss every time the ideal temp.
Wah, wah.
It's like too hot, and then it's like too cool, and then
we'll see what we can do.
We're going to take some black. It's going to come kind of in a little point here. Just kind of getting that shape. that we need. I'm going to go a little bit over here. Yeah, I might get some brown involved, right? Still kind of red. Front of the nose. Kind of coming in and down. And then as we want, we get right into the white. A lot more white into it. That little outside area, that nose. Coming with a darker color here.
Mm-hmm.
Should be a nice big snozzle.
So it can smell all.
It's got to smell all the tasty things. And you have to believe that it can smell the tasty things. Also going to come in and kind of maybe talk a little bit initially about some of that whisker shapage. Pretty good. Pretty okay. We get some white. Go ahead and tint it with our nose color, but it's pretty light. If I get too much, I'll bring it back. I think that's just too much of the bright color. There we go. It's really just finding that spot. And you got to find that sweet spot. I'm loving his nose, like for realsies. Okay, I'll show you the Filbert Grainer. This is the Filbert Grainer by Princeton. It's just another option that you've got. Let's get a little white on here. Now this white is of course toned because we've got brown and black and all the colors we've been mixing over here by it. And I'm loading up. I'm doing soft little touches and then maybe some more involved touches because as you can see, there's this bit of like white hair in among the black hairs, right?
Yeah.
We definitely want to capture that. And kind of coming up, it's a little bit white hair. You can even get another little bit of black hair coming along there. It's weird, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of weird. And at first, I'll get a little gray. If I need more water to improve the thinning of my paint, I will get it. And change it to some cleaner water, guys. Just so you know, cleaner water. This isn't my pure white. It's just the beginning, which we won't really see until we add some highlights, but it's just the start and we need to get there, right?
Yeah.
The red and say, ooh. Perhaps there's some little bits of inside the hair. A little more black.
Oop.
Come along here and, you know, make sure that there's a nice and a little bit of black fur coming around perhaps this ear area. See how we're there? Bringing that down. Now I'm going to get into my lighter fur color. I'm loading it up. This is the Grainer. Fur comb Grainer. Kind of same. There we go. Bring a little of that fur to the edge. You're amazing. I have not checked the doc for questions. We should check the doc for questions. I can do it. What is with the So first question is, what is with the dry brush? Okay, so with a dry brush, you don't want a lot of water in your brush. Your brush should be at most damp, and you don't want a lot of paint on it, right? So that when you do your stroke, if you'll see here, a lot of the canvas underneath is showing through, right? It's about allowing what's underneath to show through, and you're just kind of blending or blushing using the top or the surface of the texture of the canvas. It can take a minute to learn to dry brush. It is a necessary skill in your to paint. You're going to need to know how to blend wet into wet. Oh, you're going to need to know how to blend wet into wet, right? Create blends between transitional colors while the paint's still wet. You're going to need to do alla prima, which is that you layer colors over each other. Is there any more? More? Okay, good. And then we'll heat that. Somewhere I have a spoon. If I stir with a palette knife, is everyone going to freak out? No. This is a spoon. It is a spoon. No. My mom stresses him out. Because she'd be like, I'm just going to get this palette knife, John. I could use a little more creamer. A little more. And then heat. Since we're going to be here for a minute, you don't mind me getting my coffee, do you? All right. Fuel for the Sherpa. Okay. So we're going to continue to light that around there. So, yeah, definitely as you're painting, you've got to learn to the wet and the wet. You've got to alla prima. You've got to be able to do strokes, curved strokes, straight lines, fine lines, dry brushing. There's a couple textures and techniques that you just have to have down just to start, just to get. But you get them in about 20 paintings of just playing and painting. You'll get there. Just add another little layer here. And so it's important to be all the time looking for those techniques and those things that you need to be able to do, right? So this particular brush, it is helping me. I still have to know how to paint fur, though. It just makes it a smidge bit less inconvenient, right? But sometimes that's all you need to get back to having fun with what you're doing in your painting. Sometimes all you need is to start to have fun again. And if you haven't been having fun in your art, then you know that you've got to do something like this to get that going again. Treat yourself to a grainer or a grass comb, right? Treat yourself. One, also, here's a tip. Grass combs are pretty good at painting grass. And also the reflections and ripples in water and, just a whole myriad of things. Yeah, sarcasm. I dipped into the bucket. Taking a little bit of my dark paint and just making sure the edge of that ear has a little bit of a, what? Like, yeah, I know. You can see I'm just getting my white. I need a slightly less light. I can just come back into another bit of paint, and you're just kind of trying to get that shape of the fur. How's the fur going? How's the fur going? Don't forget orange. Oranges are very important. Little short brush strokes coming through here. That's what you want.
Okay.
More little short brush strokes coming through here.
Good evening from South Africa.
Uh-huh.
Hello, South Africa.
Hello, South Africa.
What size grass comb is that?
This is a 1/2 inch. I have a 1/2 inch in my bucket at all times. I have this 3/8 inch. I have a little teeny tiny one. I've got some more actually, depending on where we're at in the washing stage. There's always a few in here. I've got a really small one somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But luckily I don't need it at this moment, so it can be hiding from me if it feels like it. Grass combs can be like that.
Yeah.
Hidey. A lot of companies make them. If you just understand what you're looking for, if you know it can be called a grainer, you know it can be called a comb, then you're going to be able to find it pretty easily. I like to get into the details.
Yep.
And like the light on this fur coming down here. It's very exciting to me. Making the little lines to talk about it.
Little lines.
Short little strokes here. So just a little short little strokes. And that's sort of fun too.
Yeah.
Curves, short little strokes. Like that short little hairs. I just want to do that. I don't know. I think we all want to do it. I feel like I want to do it all the time. Yeah, a little bit more into this like kind of champagne color.
Mm-hmm.
They're such a natural, neutral little color, aren't they?
It really is kind of pretty.
Just little short strokes. Short. Be short about it. Don't get too... Little short strokes.
Yeah.
I'm not painting every individual hair. We certainly are still painting value and all those things that we have to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
We just are able to do it in a more relaxed way.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of my yellow and orange and come here and you can see I just, beyond even just worrying about like, is it all the one fur color? I like to play with color a little bit in any painting because that's why you paint with paint, right? Is you get to do color. You get to make things more when they need to be more.
Yep.
Just get right into that red and let it all blend on the brush and come through. Wipe out, back into this. This is such a light value. Another little kind of highlight of fur there.
Wow.
Yeah, we're just getting there, aren't we?
Just kind of moving along.
Just moving along, just painting along. It's a day. It's gonna be a day. That's okay. We don't mind. Some paintings, you know, you do in an hour, like what we're going to do on Tuesday. That's an hour. Some paintings you do in several. I'm pretty fast at this type of painting, and it's still going to take me a half second to get there. Let me just go kind of creating that little fur area. I haven't even gone back with dark fur.
I know.
So much is going right. We haven't even gotten into all of it yet. A little right into it. Kind of go more orange here.
Mm-hmm.
Again. And I don't want to make patterns. I'm not trying to make rows. And so sometimes you'll see me go back and kind of make sure that I don't have rows. I have flows, but not rows.
Indeed.
Flows, but not rows. I'm going to start with a little more white into this. It's an off-white.
Yep.
Right.
Does a grainer brush have a shorter bristle than a rake?
Well, not uniformly, and here's why. Because there's no standard. But here I have a rake, and I have a grainer, and I have a comb. There isn't like all the brush companies have agreed that it's going to be one thing or another.
They did not.
They did not
Make an agreement.
in any way.
No accord.
There is no accord.
There is no parlay in paint brushes.
There we go. It's just starting to put that little.
It's all privateers on the open ocean.
Look at that. We're just starting to get that little wonderful. Yes, the sound effects do help.
Big art hugs to everybody in chat helping support us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for Super Chat and the stickers. It means a lot, and just the shares and the likes and the...
I will make an admission. I have spent more money on DMX sparkly lights than I was allocated.
Yeah, and then we also wanted to support the Jenkins, and so we got a couple paintings, a hat thing that you can do too. So it's been a thing.
But my lights, they move.
They do move.
They're sparkly. You can't see them yet, but they do. They're like, woo. They're doing all sorts of light things. When you guys see them, you're going to be so happy, and patrons will see them first. We are going to be able to do like a regular old studio look-around-ish tour.
Yes.
And that's because I swept the floor. Which meant that I cleaned up the floor enough to be swept. And now we can see the floor. So you can see the studio.
You're so funny. Oh my gosh. Who are you? I don't know you. Sometimes I got to rinse out, and you can see him just finding those directions. And he's still dark. We haven't found his highlights, but I mean, come on, right? What does that look like? Things I might do if it gets ever intense here, I'll be like, I'll paint cats.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think that based on all of the lights, I could be a DJ.
Yeah, John. Actually, you could be a DJ straight up, like for sure.
I would have to be part of the Euro trash underground.
What is that? That sounds offensive.
No, it's like a thing. Like that was Sean Paul's show, Eurotrash.
Oh, was it?
In the 90s, yeah.
Well, in the 90s, we didn't set a bunch of offensive stuff.
No, it's not. It has to do with the musical house music scene. Like
I'm just saying, I'm not going to cancel you. I'm just.
No, it's not. It's like.
I'm not canceling you.
It's a thing that's okay.
So you say.
If I get notified that my fashion sense.
If you want me to go like the whole way on this and really take this all to the final fur, definitely hit the thumbs up.
Final fur.
You want to see what this looks like at the final fur?
It's the final countdown.
This is why we're married. So you guys know, because you know as well, that we are in tuned. I'm always like, it's so fun when someone comes in and they think they're going to divide and conquer, and then they find out there is none.
Yeah.
There is just us. I'm just going to do real short little strokes. I want to kind of catch the highlights of those little hairs. Oh my gosh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh! Sorry, I just get excited with myself sometimes. It's just a thing that I have going on. What I'm doing here is trying to find the perfect angle.
By spinning the Susan?
Well, just by, I have to spin the Susan. I'm trying to make sure that the painting is at the right angle for me to do the technique.
Perhaps this is a whirling Susan.
But look at that face now. Come on, right?
That's a face that says, "You look delicious."
Well, I think he has said that a couple of times, but we understand. Don't we? Understand what has to be eaten or not eaten. I need a follow-up question about that.
When a child comes in here to impatiently ask how much longer you're going to be doing your job, and you're like, what? What? Are you seriously coming in here to ask me when I'm going to be done with my job?
It's okay.
And then to give me the impatient
You're so
teenage
strict.
face? Like, what?
You're so strict.
I think it's a bit ridiculous.
I know you do because you're so strict.
I think I'm like, no, that's just like walking up to a, cougar and saying, "You look like a cute kitty, I'll pet you."
Don't pet the cougar.
No, this would be a bad idea.
Mm-mm.
Much like walking into your parents who are in the middle of a live YouTube broadcast and saying how much longer you're going to be.
I was never going to do it, but I was really glad about Tiger King because I learned, don't pet the cougar. It's not good for the cougar. I was never going to do it. You were never going to get me to go pet a wild animal. But it was good to learn that you shouldn't. So I feel very validated in my no pet the wild animal policies. Does that make sense?
It does.
I'm like, see? That's right. Adding little areas of fur. And so a lot of times you're just coming in and you're getting a lighter value and you're coming in and finding a moment. Find a moment, John.
I know where the moments are at.
Do you know where the moments are at?
Yes.
It takes a minute to paint fur. I don't know what to tell everybody. I don't even think I'm going to leaf.
That's okay.
I think I'm going to just stick with fur.
You can leaf if you want to.
You can leaf if you want to.
But your friends will leaf with you.
My friends will leaf with me. Because my friends all leaf, and when we all leaf, then we'll leaf.
Then you're a tree.
Be a tree.
Maybe a bush. A shrubbery.
This is a serious art show.
Clearly.
Where I teach serious things.
Do.
Except I do.
Internet streaming says that was an issue. It blinks.
Did it wink at us?
It's blinking at us. I think there may be some summertime interneting.
Or our young ones are like, They don't mean it when they say get off the internet.
It's true. It's a little buffering here and there. I can see it.
Where they're like, I know they said it, but it probably isn't true.
I may have to round the house and be like, no more. There's a little buffering. I saw the small buffering. We're gonna stick with it though. This one's almost done.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute. You think that,
isn't it?
It's so adorable that you think it's almost done.
I thought so.
So these are little short marks that you can see that we're pulling through the face. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, guys. Don't you just love it?
I do.
I just love it.
It's very cool.
Makes me happy. Getting a little nice warm orange going.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little white then though on occasion, so we can come up here and gold that up. Uh-oh.
Checking on the intertubes.
Oh, is that is?
I'm sure.
I'm gonna check on each other.
Making sure those tubes are seen.
Why shouldn't I? But I do laugh a little bit in my head and in my heart. I'm gonna get some brown here. So I don't want those little hairs up here to be too long, and I may come back and shorten them. So you can shorten them up with a lighter grouping. Shorten them. You don't want them to be too long. They're short little hairs. Short little hairs. So you gotta make short little strokes where they are.
Make them.
No, Mom. My mom is calling.
If it's not one thing, it's your mother.
My mother for sure. She probably saw my I'd like to use a single color list for the, because I was like, can we use just one set color list for the bird hop so people could just get that one color list and not have to buy a bunch of weird colors?
You probably broke people's brains.
Because I didn't take my mom's call.
I don't know, because you suggested some things.
Oh, I always suggest things. I washed her brushes for years.
Most suggestive.
I get to suggest stuff. I did. I washed the brushes for years. I get to suggest things. I paid my dues. Now John Little pays those dues, but I pay my dues. I'm taking a little bit of that kind of orange, and I'm going to pick a few little highlights along this little part of the bent fur. See how I do?
I do.
Blend that in. I like to also get maybe some of this and little more fluid.
Yeah?
A little more water to make it flow.
Flow.
Flow, 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 flow. A little more black in the flow, 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 flow. Does the camera think we don't mean it anymore?
I don't know.
Look at us go.
The camera doesn't have any particular feelings about it.
Camera should. I'm going to get a bunch of white, load it on my brush, still on the grass comb. Now that you've all gone online to find them and order them.
The brush guys, they reminded me. They sent me an email saying, "Did you know we still have all the stuff in stock that you want, generally cheaper than everyone else?"
No, it is. It is cheaper over the brush guys.
I know.
Them.
He sent me an email.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Stuart. He was like,
"Hi, Stuart."
He was like, "Did you know?" And I was like, "I didn't."
You can get a discount if you go to the brush guys. Be sure you spell that correctly. You're going to end up on a website that you may or may not enjoy, but definitely is not safe for work. You want to go to the one with brushes, those guys. And if you use the Art Sherpa at checkout, you get a discount.
Yep.
Getting a little more.
And they generally have a lot of the brushes that you see here, really on pretty good sale. So, and if it's not exactly the one that we have, they have other ones very similar. So you could explore and do some shopification.
Shopification? Sir?
Well, I mean, if you're going to support a small business, that's a good business to support.
Would you guys like to know what my current favorite TV obsession is? After you support the brush guys, go there at the Art Sherpa 5% off, whatever order. You guys want to know?
Dangerously loaded question.
Is there a reason why the flow is coming from the water instead of the medium? I'm just grabbing the water. I could probably use the medium to get a similar one, but there's no specific reason. Oh, I might be doing it so that my paint is drying faster. That way I can layer. So do you guys want to know my favorite show right now? You want to know it? Well, there's really two, but I'll tell you my first favorite.
The Mighty Booch.
Ann DaCosta says, Cinnamon, you're an amazing artist. This painting is beautiful. Thank you, Ann DaCosta. You are my favorite right now.
Because Vince Noir is still the king of the mods.
You seem to think so.
Well, he is.
Raise his hand, says Linda's like, I know what her favorite show is, because she has to listen to me go on and on about my favorite shows. The brush guys are out of stock for the grass comb she's using. Okay, so this is the Ruby Satin grass comb. You could also use the Crystal grass comb, and if you can't get that, the Filbert Grainer by Princeton. And Simply Simmons also makes one that's not bad. $3. If this helps. I don't know if this helps.
See, Sharon knows. She says the Mighty Booch is awesome.
Much lighter color right here. Much lighter color. Fanning right, fanning left. And I'm getting that little area of hair.
Okay, and we are back.
All right. So you're going to stitch this together.
We're going to stitch it together.
Are you going to download it and then put them together? Or are you going to somehow put this in?
Yep, we'll merge them. We'll be okay.
All right. So we're going to keep painting like you guys are here.
Going.
There's 181 here, and it came back, and there's no stream. Somebody tell them something.
I will tell them.
Somebody has to tell them something. I'm going to keep painting. I'm going to keep adding white and continuing to lighten the stuff that has to be light. I'm not going to be shook because I'm a professional. Are we even going to be able to do lives on the Saturday?
Do not know. We will see what happens. Because this is unusual. We'll have to call them and see.
It's not unusual to be bumped from any stream.
Buffering. The buffering.
To see me crying. And come here and kind of tap a little reflection on the top. See, that is a kind of cool little whoop. That looks really good. I like that. I'll definitely keep that. I'm very much enjoying that. Now I've got this sort of interesting under the chin white, which isn't fully white. It's kind of warm, so I'm going to keep playing with that.
Okay.
And it comes up here. And I'm just going to enjoy finishing painting him the few minutes that are left. I mean, right at the end, John.
I know. It's just so...
It's like I cannot catch a break with YouTube to save my patooey.
Yep.
What is it?
It wasn't kids.
It wasn't kids. It wasn't kids. Was it not kids? I don't know.
No, it's that what it is that all the people in the local area who also share our network services.
Can we tell them all to get off?
No, unfortunately not. What I can do
is
I'm gonna,
right. I'd really appreciate it if you would get off the internet from this time to this time so I can have a live stream. Is there any more bandwidth we can get?
There is. But see, what I'm going to see if we can do is get up to the next level, which is fiber optic.
Oh, weren't we fiber optic and Humble?
No, but we were so close to the main backbone that unless there was an actual network problem, like the cables had a bad connection between us and the substation, we were cooking.
All right. Well, this we've got to do a different thing with.
We'll work it out. I got steps and ideas.
You have steps and ideas, but that doesn't help their cat today.
No, well, we can fix the cat.
How are we going to fix the cat?
We'll
You say we can
merge
fix the cat.
The cat.
You say we're going to fix the cat.
It will be a Frankenstein merger of YouTube and Facebook and locally recorded content.
We should make
forward.
it a premiere. And when you merge it back up and we put it back up, we should give it a trailer to explain what happened.
That we have taken these parts of discarded social media remnants and stitched them together into a new creation that we shall set forth upon the world. Sorry.
Next time, record the video.
Yep. That would save
so
all
much
of that
time and problem and like the one time you don't hit the button, right?
Right. No. And it's only because like the 14 terabyte RAID hard drive array that I had
keeps failing.
Failed for the third time.
Oh my gosh.
It's under warranty, but it's really annoying to like not be able to turn it on or use it because it's one of the hard drives inside failed. So you have to wait for the replacement and the stuff.
Just doing the underneath the kitty jaw. I really kind of like this. I do kind of really like it.
I like it.
I like it. It was worth it though. Like, honestly, I wish we recorded the overhead because it's kind of a show off moment. Like, I really painted this cat. I really, really painted this cat. He looks so good, doesn't he?
He does.
He does. He looks so fly. So awesome. It's like, I can hunt you if I felt like it. If my stream was working, I could definitely hunt you, but my stream isn't working. Oh, I just love him. He's real pretty.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm always like, to whisker or not to whisker? That is the question.
It is always a question.
'Tis nobler in the minds of cats to attempt the whiskers, and it is for the novice artist who's like, this fine line has ruined my whole painting. I did that. That was really strange. Very strange thing to do with the bard. To do with the English bard. I'm adding little light tips to some of the hairs.
Oh, yeah. To frost them.
Frost them. Frost those hairs. Frost them, my friends. Frost them. They need to be frosted. I'm still in the grass comb. It's still there. Yeah, we'll do it as a premiere.
Uh-huh.
And we'll just let it be up. And then later, years later, someone will be watching it because they'll be like, I really want to paint a mountain lion. And it's a really good mountain lion.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like the one person who's like explaining to frost the tips, what tool to use and how to like randomize that little fur. See how we like broke that up so the little fur is caught?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes I get so chuffed with myself. I don't know how to explain it, but I do. I'm just kind of like, I feel real proud of me. I do. I am taking a little black and I'm kind of working it in. Interesting to come back with a grass comb and kind of also. It needs to be thicker than it is. Sometimes painting the shadows in the fur also is helpful. You can go back and forth between those two spaces. And I'm paying attention to it because, I'm not doing the leaves. short little marks when you're putting those little shadows in. See how that really does help it though?
Yeah.
Short marks. Not long marks, short marks. I'm going to come here to the chin and be like, yeah, the noise does help.
It does.
Wondering, does the noise help? Yeah. The noise totally helps. See, and sometimes putting that shadow back in the hair helps to find the hair if you lost it at any point.
Mm.
I feel like we lost the stream like right as I was finishing the painting.
I know. It's kind of a bummer, but you know.
So here's what I'm going to call that a step, and then so we have a picture here, and then I'm going to try and whisker, and that way I can be like, oh, the whisker was a good idea, or I can be like, no, whisker was a fail. Don't follow me. Do not follow me because I'm going to finish the nose and the whisker. But if it's bad, you'll know not to follow me into the whisker. Into the whisker it. Into the whisker it. Alone on step 8 by myself. Well, you're here. I'm not totally alone.
No, I'm a little bit here.
You're a lot here. So I'm going to take a little of my red and brown. Right? And maybe even a little of my black. Make sure that there's a little bit of, kind of shading on that nose a bit there. It's nice, right? Tip, tip, tip. Tip, 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 tip. Just a little kind of break it up, and then that just really pulls that nose into a space.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to whisker, guys. I am. Is it smart?
Let's see.
Probably not. So I'm going to put out some fluid paint. There's a bunch of places you could put whiskers. One of the things I'm going to want to do is I'm not going to whisker with my fur brush. Trust me, that would not look right. But I am going to put the little light bit of fur that's like right here at the chin that has a bit of the whiskers. You know what I'm talking about? Which one?
Yeah.
That's there. I'm using the grainer right now just to make sure it's real light and stuff in that area. A little bit of lights there on both sides.
Yep.
As you do. Maybe get a little of the black, as I do. There we go. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Just love doing those little touches. Okay. So, some of the whiskers are black. So I'm taking some black and thinning it, right, as you do.
Yeah.
Using my glazing medium, anything, just to make that. That's not a lot of the whiskers, but it's a few, so I'm going to come here and be like,
Oh, the whiskers.
gonna try. I'm gonna turn to the side here. I don't know if it's gonna end up being a good idea or a bad idea. But we're gonna put some whiskers. Something I don't often do because I feel like, whiskers are hard.
Yeah.
Like, where is it gonna go wrong? In the whiskers. Touching up around the mouth. I'm going to rinse out. And I'm going to try the white ones. Let's go up here. There's some cool, whiskers up here.
Yeah.
And change up the thicknesses of those lines where I need to. I can come in the base of this whisker and actually kind of, some of these have like two tones almost to them. So they come out dark and then they get light. It's a weird deal. So I'm going to just pay attention to what the whisker tells me about itself and just go with that. You know, I'm going to just trust that it knows what it is.
Trust.
I'm going to trust it. Even though it's never given me any reason to do that.
Right.
These are very light pressure. Sometimes, you know, I want to come in lighter and heavier, and you've just really got to pay attention and observe the subject. Some there. Can't decide if I think it's improved things or not improved things.
I think it's improving.
I'm going to come along the top of the black a little bit and make sure that that's got a little variety to it. So I get a little quieter because I'm trying to steady myself.
If you're sort of focusing on it.
Well, I'm trying. Sometimes when you talk,
yeah,
it unsteadies you.
Yeah, I understand. Totally agree.
There's a little bit of something. A little bit of something there.
Something, something.
Mm-hmm. I may come back and make that not as bright. I'm thinning the whisker. I'm taking a damp brush and coming in, kind of stroking away some of the paint, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
It's a bit of a delicate process. In and out. So that works a little bit better. Okay. Hoping that we get these kind of correct.
Yep.
Sometimes a light line and then heavier lines is what you really need. Again, I don't whisker often.
Yeah.
So this is your bonus for putting up with missing video. And I imagine if you're into big cats, the whiskers are part of it.
Yeah. And it's good to see that, like, what you do is you put, like, you use the black whisker sometimes with a little bit of highlight of white, and then that's really kind of interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
Well, if you look at them, sometimes they do have almost a two-tone quality, so you can kind of
get away with it.
Yeah, where they're like that. Wow, I think that actually weirdly worked. I have another little whisker up top. It's there.
Got eyelashes.
I haven't even gotten into that yet, right?
Ooh, little eyeshadow.
Or fur. Fur.
Fierce. Fierce kitty.
Well, that is a little fierce.
Oh. Little highlights.
Maybe.
And which brush is this?
This is the #1 monogram liner.
Okay.
Maybe. You know? Maybe. I might glaze that back a little bit. Just to have it not be so. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll come in and just kind of fuss, now that we've booted off the internet.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Coming back with some white and kind of giving that some dimensionality, right?
Yeah.
You can always come in and kind of do some of these little detail bits. And create a bit of extra drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really cool looking mountain lion.
Yeah, I agree.
Very fuzzy.
Very fuzzy. You just can take a minute then and work out some details if you have to worry about. Elements of the ears, right? Isn't that nice?
It's so cool.
Just pulling in some.
Just putting those little details, every
Those
little
dramas in can be a huge difference.
They make the final little details. Just, it makes it so, brings it together. When you first started out and you were sketching in him, it was like, where is this going to go? And then the kitty appears.
Getting the grainer. Yeah, it just takes a minute. And I think if you know that you've got a minute in the project and you're going to have to give yourself that time to find the creature in the forest. I feel like I'm getting there.
Yeah.
This is my grainer. It gives me just slightly shorter hairs. And I just want to tip with a little bit of silver. Be like, There you go. Do we want to tip with a little bit right here? Probably we do. Too much on either side. So it's got a nice shading. On the edge. And then you have so much control. All right, look at that. So we're just getting there. You can always come back with a little bit of black if anything gets away from you.
Ah.
So you're never stuck.
never stuck.
You're never stuck. You just can keep finding his little face. His face is there, right? You're just finding his little face. You never stop looking for it. Because it's just fun to paint. All right, I feel like we've spent a good amount of time with our Kit Kat.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. I feel like
I
we've
think
spent
this
a good
is a
amount of
very,
time.
very pretty kitty.
I don't normally sign in red, but on this one painting, I think it's okay because we have such color in there.
Mm-hmm. It's a very
Thin
pretty
out
kitty.
some red, my #1 monogram liner. And John is going to figure out how to stitch the videos together.
Yep.
Maybe edit the cycling out.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
We shall do the things we do.
Just a little bit of a thing there. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with Mr. Kitty. There's a little bit of a black thing there I'm not happy with.
Huh. Get that.
I get it. Get it. And I'm going to go, no. Oh, well, it was just dirt.
Ta-da! All done.
It's just dirt. All right. So if you find this again, we will start over on the giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
This will have to be a new comment
We'll work it out.
train. Don't worry. Just let me. When John says we'll work it out, it's like I have to finish telling you what I'm telling you. I can't stop.
I'm not trying to do
Okay.
that.
So what you will need to do is we're going to have to take the other videos down. And so if you're coming by here on this one, you'll have seen the whole thing again. But if you're coming here for the second time, that's what's going on. Just in this, if you're on YouTube, in the comments, leave a comment with the hashtag the Art Sherpa. I'll have pinned the rules at the top. This is for a month membership to the patronage.
Mm-hmm.
Patrons, if you're like, well, what do we get? I'm going to put up a giveaway for you guys as well here that you guys can get into, that you're going to really, really be pleased with. So you guys will have your own. But this is for everybody. If you'd like to win a month of the patronage, if you're on Facebook, then you just anytime during the video, right? You just hashtag in there, and I'll have in the dates and the rules that are posted when we're going to announce the winner. Be sure that you check videos that you've entered to see if you won. I always like when the date is coming on, I always put it up there, and we try to announce everywhere so you have a chance to find it. If you know somebody's won, let them know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys like this other than the weird streaming issues?
Well, I like this. I thought this was a great cat.
I could probably do another 4 hours on this thing. So if
I
you
know.
want to do another 4 hours, that's completely okay. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.